Okay, let's make a start. So this is a follow-up session. I did all keyboard shortcuts last month. And so this session is going to focus on using the mouse, but we will be using the mouse with the keyboard as well. So there are some just mouse shortcuts, but you'll find you can use the mouse with the keyboard as well. So we'll see how we do that. We'll be using the Control key, Shift key, and the Alt key. And you'll be amazed at what you can do with the mouse and those shortcut keys. And I'll also show you something that you might never have done with the right mouse. So stay tuned for that. We'll also look at the quick access toolbar, which is this little toolbar here, which I've got lots of icons on. And you might not, and yours might be above the ribbon. So we'll look at that. We'll also look at the Office clipboard, which so many people are unaware of. But there's some good things you can do with that. But first, we need to look at the mouse cursors. So in Excel, the shape of the cursor, so let's put a value in here, the shape of the cursor affects what you do when you click and drag with it. So there are a number of different cursors. So the one we're looking at here is this fat plus sign. Now, this is the one you use to click and hold and basically select a range. So that's the basic one to select a range. The other one that everyone uses is what's called the fill handle. And what this allows you to do is, so it's a little plus sign. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of a cell or a range, and you can click, hold, and drag. And that will copy basically, and you can drag in all four directions. So you can drag everywhere around. You can't drag diagonally, okay? You can only drag in the four directions and it copies. Sometimes it increments, which we'll look at a little bit later. So that shape, that's the fill handle shape. So that's an important one. So it's a black plus sign. Now there is another shape, and that's this arrow shape with the four-headed arrows on there as well. Now this allows you to click, hold, and drag, and that performs a cut and a paste. Now in Excel, cut and paste is not usually a good thing to do unless you know what you're doing. That can give you things like ref errors in your formulas. If you use a cut and a paste. In Word and PowerPoint, you can cut and paste to your heart's content, and it doesn't really do anything that's bad. In Excel, cut and paste can break things. So you have to be very careful about using cut and paste. And that's what you're doing when you're dragging around with this icon. Now, this icon, I'll see how good my mouse skills are. This icon is available, or this cursor, right around the border of the range, except for there. So that corner is the fill handle. Now, a lot of people get into problems with Excel because they use this corner to try and get the icon that they're after. But in general, this corner is only you should only use this for the fill handle, because that's the only place you can find it. If you want to drag something around, and I'll show you another technique with this arrow icon later that doesn't drag. Now, rather than you can get this all the way up to here, but have a look. If I move slightly over, it changes. And if I move slightly to the middle of the cell, it changes to the fat plus sign. So unfortunately, people sort of try and do everything in this corner, and that's where you get problems. So basically, here's the rule. This corner is only for the fill handle. Go to the middle of one of the lines, one of the borders, to get the arrow, and always go to the middle of the cell to get the fat plus sign. So basically, you use the middle of one of the borders to do the cut and the pasting, if that's what you want to do. But always only use this corner for the fill handle, because there's all three icons you can see are so close in that range that you should only really use that corner to do the dragging. Yeah, so the cut and paste is Control X. So that's what you're replicating with the mouse. And I said, be very, very careful with it because it can cause ref errors. Now, something we should mention is undo. So obviously, Excel can undo with our little undo here. It's also Control Z, even though we are talking about the mouse. I will throw some keyboard shortcuts. So Control Z is undo as well, and you can use the undo icon up here. Now, obviously, if you break something, you can use the undo to fix it. So that's something that's important to realize. Also, you can undo after you save. Now, this is something that in the old days, that wasn't possible. When you saved a file, it actually cleared the undo list. But in the recent, basically the last 15 years or so, after you save, you can still undo. So just be aware of that. Also, I will share another, when you're doing a lot of these techniques, if you want to practice them, good idea to practice on dummy data or a copy of your data. And so you can use the F12 function key, and that opens up Save As. So that's one of my favorite function keys. So F12 function key is Save As. If you're on a laptop, you may need to press another key to get to your function keys. Just the way laptop keyboards are a bit cut down. So just a heads up if you do want to access F12. F12 opens up Save As. Okay, so those cursor shapes are on the page 4 of the notes. So that's there. And let's have a look at page 5, which is about right clicking. So if you don't right click, it's a good time to start right now, okay? So right-clicking offers so many shortcuts to get to the common things for whatever you're right-clicking. So, for example, if I right-click a column, so the G here, I get things that you can do to a column. So you can cut, copy, insert, delete, clear, format, and the ones that are specific to columns, we've got a column width, a hide, and an unhide. So those ones are, the bottom section tends to be specific to whatever you've right-clicked on. So it's like a context-sensitive menu, basically. So the menu will vary depending on what you right-click on. If you right-click on a cell, you get a lot of those options, and also down the bottom section, again, is what's specific to that cell. You can right-click a row, very similar to the column, except it says row height, and then hide and unhide down the bottom. You can right-click a sheet. And when you do, you've got options for inserting a sheet, deleting, renaming, copying. You can view the code. That's for macros, if you're into macros. You can do protect, and you can change the tab color. I use tab colors a bit in my when I'm building models. So you can use color coding on your tabs to make it a little bit more obvious that things go together. You can also hide a sheet. A lot of people don't realize you can hide sheets. Okay, so right-clicking, if you don't do it, please do it. A lot of the options up here are your formatting options, so they come up automatically. And if you, for example, if I start formatting, let's say I make it bold, I put a yellow background, notice it's staying there. So you can actually do all of these things. Once you start using it, you can actually change all of it all at once. So it stays there once you start doing it. So it can speed up your formatting. But just so right-click it, and then you got your access to this formatting bar for whatever you've selected. So right-click, highly recommend it. Also, here we go. This is the one that people really love. These, if we right-click over here, so these are, now I haven't got many sheets in this file, and so this navigation section here, so I'm in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. If you right-click in this section, here we go, you get a list of all of the sheets. Now, as I mentioned, I don't have many sheets in this file, but if you have lots, then this is an easy way to navigate around. So I'll do that again. So just right click in this section here. So it's to the left of the first sheet. So just right click and it will list all of the sheets in the file and you can go direct to them. So it's a quick navigation aid, if you like. Okay, so that's right clicking. We're going to come back to the right mouse button a little later, and I'll show you something that you may never have tried with the right mouse button. Okay, let's think about the left mouse button, the normal mouse button. So here we go. You can use the mouse and the keyboard to select ranges that are not, so this is the standard type of range that you'll select in Excel, but what if you wanted to select this range? Now I'm going to hold my control key down and select that range, and I'm still holding my control key down and I'm going to select that range. So I've selected 3 separate ranges. So I could, for example, right click in here and copy, and then go over here and then right click and paste. So I can grab parts of the range and then bring them together into a single range so copying it and pasting it. Now, the other thing you might want to do, for example, is you might want to, again, I'm going to hold my control key. Maybe you want to format those. Maybe you want to make them yellow or something different. So you can use the control key to select, it's got a really long name. It's called a non-contiguous range. So it basically means this is a contiguous range. It's all together, whereas a non-contiguous range is a separate one. So for example, I can select column J, and then every second column, I could change the format. So just hold the control key down and you can select all of those in one go and apply a format. Now that copying technique, let's go mad and undo all these. All right. So this copying technique can work like this as well. So you can select that range and that range. So we just want the first 3 names and the first 3 salaries. We can go Control C to copy, and then I can just go paste. That will work. Now, the time it won't work is if you do this. So I'm selecting 4 cells on the left, and I'm going to hold my control key down and select 3. Now, I can format this range, but if I try and copy it, Excel is going to give me an error message. So if I go right click copy, Excel tells me this action won't work on multiple selections. When you make the multiple selections, you need to make sure they line up, basically. So this one here has 4, whereas this one only has 3. And so it won't let you copy it. You can still do the formatting if you wanted, but it won't let you copy it. So you can click OK. Now, here's something that is fairly new in Excel. And if you've already used this technique, you may be surprised to find out you can do this. Here we go. So I'm going to select that range. Now I want to select the same salaries as well. So what I'm going to do is hold the control key and I go, oops, I've stopped too early. But look what you can do now. So I'm going to hold my control key, deselect that one, and then reselect it. And again, I hold my control key when I'm doing it. Now, in the old days, when you wanted to make these type of changes, you had to start again. So you couldn't change a multi-select types range, but now you can. So you just basically select it again, that takes it out, and then you can reselect it. So that's new. So as long as you're holding your control key down, you can do that. So I can copy that and paste it over here. So that's the left mouse button, the normal mouse button, and that's holding the control key down when I'm selecting it. So there's some examples on page 6 and 7 in the notes for that one. Now, in the same way that we can select multiple ranges with the control key, you can also select multiple sheets. Now, let's have a look what we can do here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the multi. So I'm in the multi sheet. So I'm just going to check these other ones and just see what's there. Okay. So I'm back to the multi. I'm going to click on the copy. I'm holding my control key. I'm clicking on the copy and I'm going to click on the fill. So this is really powerful, but also really dangerous. So this one comes with a warning, okay? So what I'm doing is I've selected 3 separate sheets. So these are all selected. If I hit my print now, for example, it would print those 3 sheets. So it's useful for doing printing. But you can also edit all of these 3 sheets in the one go. So I can type in something in K1. So I'll just type in the word test in K1. Now I have typed in test in K1 in all 3 sheets. Now you can probably see why that's powerful, and you can probably also see why that's dangerous, because if these sheets are differently structured, which in this case they actually are, I could be overwriting something that I can't see, simply because you can't see the other sheets. Now, if the sheets are all identically laid out, which is can be quite common, then it's really good for changing all of the sheets in one go. So as I said, really, really powerful. And by the same thing, it's really, really that dangerous, because you can overwrite stuff that you're not there. Okay, so let's go have a look. So I'm just going to click one of the other sheets, and that will clear this multi-select. So let's go have a look at fill. And there's the word test, and there's copy, and there's the word test. Okay, so multi-select, so I'll do that again and fill, and this time I'm going to delete it. Okay, so that's cleared it out, so that's all good. Now, the problem with this is that if I hit save now, Excel saves the file with those 3 sheets selected, and that's incredibly dangerous. Okay, so when you are using this technique, as I said, it can be really powerful, but always deselect it before you save. So you can just click any other sheet and that deselects the sheets. What the problem Excel has here is that it doesn't really tell you you're working on multiple sheets. There's only 2 things it does. These 3 sheets are all highlighted. They've got the little line underneath. The other thing it does is, if we go right up to the top, it uses the word group in the heading. So if you ever see that in the heading of the file name, be very, very careful, because you have multiple sheets grouped. So again, that's really, really dangerous. Also, if someone, let's say you're doing this and you're updating all of these sheets, and then someone comes in the office and wants to talk to you, okay, so you could get distracted. So be very careful about leaving the sheet like this. So if someone does come in, maybe it's a good idea just to clear this selection and go back to just having one sheet selected. So as I said, really, really powerful, and also really, really dangerous. So just be very, very careful with that. With great power comes great responsibility. Okay, so be very careful using that one, because it's not obvious that you've actually selected them. Oh, the other way to clear it, by the way, is if you right-click one of the sheets, there is an ungroup option. So that's on page 8 of the notes. So just a heads up on that. Ungroup. So someone's saying that their sample is saying that one thing with that selecting that multiple. So let's say I do it this way. I select that one and then I select that one. I don't think that's going to let me do it. You have to select the ranges perfectly. So I don't know if that's what someone had done before. So if you select those 4, you can't select those 2 and those 2 as an example. So when you try and copy that, it says there's too many selections basically. But if you select 4 and 4 in one go, that will allow you to copy it and then paste it. So I don't know if that's someone had some problems with that. Hopefully that fixes it. Okay, so that's the multi-select. So you can multi-select ranges, you can multi-select sheets as well. By the way, you can also use the shift key. So if I click on multi down here and hold the shift key down and click on fill, that will select all of those sheets. So again, just be very careful with that. So you can use Control to select individual sheets, or you can use Fill to go from one sheet to the to another sheet and select all of the sheets in between that. Okay, now this is using the Control key to copy. So here we go. So if you want to copy something in Excel, what most people do is they'll select the range, Control C, and then sort of Control V, something like that. That's pretty standard. Well, here's another way to do that. Oop, wrong one. What I'm going to do is I'm pointing, I'll get rid of the copy there. So I've selected that range. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that arrows. Remember that arrow shape that we had? I'm going to drag that across. Now, if I just let go of the mouse, I have cut and pasted that range, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a dangerous thing to do. So let's undo that. But if I do exactly the same thing, but I hold the Control key down, look what happens. Notice the cursor changes when you press Control as well. And here we go. So that copies it. Okay, so instead of cut and paste, it does copy paste. And it works pretty much with everything. So you can grab any range and drag it. You can grab a cell and drag it. You can drag an image. So I'm just dragging an image here with the Control key. And when you release the mouse, you make a copy of it. Now that's really, really good for things like PowerPoint and Word, where you might want to copy an image or something. So don't be afraid to try it, because it works in Word and PowerPoint as well. So basically, when you would normally drag something to move it, if you hold the Control key, you are copying it. So, and that works for sheets as well. So if I drag this copy sheet to the right, I'm going to hold my Control key down and notice the little plus sign pop up. I'm going to release the mouse. It actually takes a whole lot longer to explain than it does to do. And now I've made an exact copy of that sheet. So I'll just do it there. And so you can see how fast you can copy a sheet. And that copies everything. So all the formulas, all of the formats, all of the print settings, that's all copied. That's the quickest way to copy a sheet, is just to drag it, hold the Control key, release the mouse. Always hold the Control key before you release the mouse. Also with the copying, what you can do is you can drag. At the moment, I'm not holding the Control key down, but all you have to do, I'm still holding the mouse down, just press the Control, release the mouse, and that copies it. So you don't have to hold the Control key all the time, but just before you release the mouse. Can take a bit of practice, but that's a easy way to do it. Okay, so that copies everything. Oh, by the way, there is another way to copy, and this is the keyboard version. So if you want to make a duplicate of it, you can use Control D. Okay, so Control and the letter D, and that makes a copy as well. So that's the keyboard technique to copy a image or a chart or any graphic type thing. Okay, that's the Control. Now the Shift key. So the Control key does a lot, but the Shift key can also allow you to select ranges fairly accurately. Now, when you select a range, most people will do this. They'll just sort of select it like that. Now, if you wanted to add a few more rows to that, most people, again, would just go back up here and then select it. But the Shift key gives you a little bit more flexibility. Watch what I can do. So I've selected that range, and then let's say I want to include a few more rows. So what you can do is hold the Shift key down and then just click the mouse. And that allows you, and you can go in either direction as well, by the way, and that allows you to change the range instead of having to reselect it. So let's say we'd gone all the way down to the bottom here. and selected it, but we missed those last few, then all you need to do is hold the shift key and you can select it. Another way to use this is to select the top left cell. So I've selected that cell, scroll all the way down to get to where you want to work with, hold the shift key down and click the end cell. And that will fill in between where you were and where you click. And again, you can keep changing it. So if you wanted to change it, you basically I'm holding the shift key down, and that allows you to change the range. So the shift key gives you that ability to select it and also to change it. Something else the shift key allows you to do. So let's do some drawing. A couple of shapes. Let's say I want to draw a circle. Okay, so notice that it's a little bit hard to draw a perfect circle. If you hold the shift key down, it's easy. Okay, so the shift key allows you to draw a perfect circle when you're drawing. And in the same way, I think we can get a perfect square. So I think that's a rectangle. But if you hold the shift key down, it'll give you a perfect square if you're trying to create a square. So that's it, drawing images. So a perfect circle and a perfect square are possible if you hold down the shift key to do it. Also, I think, which I might not have put in here, so this is not in the notes because I just remembered it. If you want to draw a perfect line, as in horizontal, okay, so let's say I want to draw a horizontal line and I'm not really good at it. If you hold the shift key, it allows you to draw a perfect horizontal line. I'll make that a bit bigger. Let's shape the format. Can I make it? We've got some thick ones. There we go. There we go. There's a thick one. So you can, if you hold the shift key, as you can see, it's a perfect horizontal. You can also go vertical. So if I move it here and press shift, oh no, that's just going there. Let's try again, draw another one. This time I'll try vertical. I think it'll let you do a perfectly vertical one. Yeah, so there we go. There's a vertical line. So perfectly vertical, perfectly horizontal. You can use the shift key. Also perfect squares and perfect circles. The shift key will help you with that. So that's on page 9. Now the line I forgot to mention. So you might want to mention that you can get a horizontal line and a vertical line with the shift key. Something else the shift key can do. Let's go back up here. Let's say we wanted to move the color to the other side of the size in this table. So I'll make this a bit bigger. Now let's say we wanted this column H to be between I and J here. Now what a lot of people will do is they'll insert a column and then they'll copy it across. But what you can do is point to the border. So select the whole column, point to the border and hold the shift key down and drag it across. So that moves the whole column from where it was to where it is. Now, just be aware, this could cause some ref errors as well, depending on what your formulas look like. But it is basically allows you to switch columns. Also works with rows. So you can move a row if you hold the shift key. So I've selected a whole row, hold the shift key and you can move it up. So that can switch things around. So that's on page 10, top of page 10 in the notes. Someone said they were unable to do something. I'm not sure what that was, whether that was the vertical line or the perfect circle or the perfect square. So maybe let me know what that was. Okay, now navigation. A lot of people don't realize you can navigate around a table or a sheet with the mouse. So here's how we do it. So here's that double-headed or that large arrow shape. Now, as I mentioned before, you can drag things around with it, but you can also double click it. And look what happens when you do. So I'm double clicking that icon. It takes you to the bottom of the list. And if you want to go to the top, you double click the top border. If you want to go to the side, you double click to the left or double click to the right. And that takes you. Now, the way it works is, let's go way over here. So this is as far away from A1 as I can get. If you double click that icon there, it'll take you basically until something changes. So it takes you to the last blank cell before there is something. And so in this one, it takes you to the last entry before there's a blank cell. If you double click there, nothing happens. If you double click there, it takes you over. So you can actually navigate around a large spreadsheet by double clicking these arrow symbols. And it's in all 4 directions. Column width. So let's go back over here. So some of these columns aren't wide enough to show the values. The way to fix that is to select the columns, and either one of these double-headed arrows. So they are, when you point to the end or the sort of the line between the columns, you should get a double-headed arrow. If you double click, it should, that all of the columns you've got selected, by double clicking that, you are, it's called auto fit. So it's making all of the entries fit to the column width, which is different to doing it, dragging it, which makes all of the columns the same width. So double clicking makes them fit whatever's there. If you just drag that icon, it's changing all of the columns to that same, which is also useful, but this one, double click it, is auto fit. Okay, so someone was having trouble with the vertical line. Let's just do it again. So I'm going to drag it like that, hold my shift key down, then release the mouse, and that should give you the vertical line. So just maybe give that another go. I'll just undo that. Okay, so double clicking the double-headed arrow will allow you to auto fit, so change all of the columns to fit whatever's in there. Now, it's not dynamic, so if something gets bigger, you will need to redo it. So just a heads up on that. Okay, let's do some formatting. So what have I got here? I might just apply some formats to here, what I want to show you. So I'm going to make it yellow, red, and bold. Okay. And let's put a border around it. So let's say we wanted to capture this and use it on another section. So what you can do, obviously, you can copy it and go here, and there's an option for right click and paste formats. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to select the range or the entry, click the format painter, and then you can go somewhere else. And notice that the icon has changed. We've got a paintbrush there now. So we can apply that. And you can only do it once, but you can double click the format painter. So this is the format we want. So double click the format painter. Now have a look. You can apply this format as many times as you like. Notice that the icon is there, the paintbrush, so that's telling you that you're still painting. To get rid of it, press the escape key, or you can click back on the format painter and that will reset it. So that's a really quick way to apply a format. So you click on the format that you want to use, double click the format painter, and then you can apply that format pretty much wherever you go. Let's go over here. Let's go down the bottom. Now let's say we want to add up these 2 columns. So what a lot of people will do is they'll click on the auto sum, and then they'll press enter, and then they'll copy it across. Okay, that's the typical way that people would put the auto sum in. But you can also double click the AutoSum. Now, the assumption there is that there's no blanks in the range. If you've got a blank in the range, you can't use this technique because blanks in the range stop the AutoSum. So it stops the sum function correcting or guessing the right range. So blanks are the devil in Excel. They really affect a lot of shortcuts. So blank cells, try and avoid them, put zeros in them or something. It makes things a lot easier. Also, I'll show you another way to do it. Just select the whole 3 cells. So this is going to add up all 3 columns, and all you need to do is click the AutoSum once, and it will do all of them for you. Okay, so just that's the easy way to do the AutoSum. Okay, let's have a play with the fill handle and the control key. Well, first I'll show you how it works without the control key, and then I'll show you how it works with the control key. Now, I'm going to have a drink of water because my voice is getting a little bit croaky. So if you've got any questions, feel free to type them in if you want me to go over something. So I'm just going to have a drink of water and then I will be back. Oh, someone has asked, how do I keep the same column widths? Okay, so if you want all of your columns the same, let's go and open up a blank sheet. What you can do is click on this little icon. Let's make this a bit bigger. Click on this little icon here, and that selects the whole sheet. And if you want them all the same, like you might want like a grid, what you do is grab one of these, and that will change the whole sheet to match that. And that works for rows as well. So you can make them all the same. If you just want to do that in a range, you select the range and then just change one of those, and that will change all of them. So the secret is selecting the range first and then changing the column width. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play around with the fill handle. So this is what happens when you use the fill handle. So I'm going to drag all of these down. So we'll see the various things that happen. With my examples here, you can see most things are incrementing. So dates increment, days of the week increment. If you put a number on the end, it'll increment. If you drag a month, it'll increment. The only thing that doesn't increment is a number. So if you've got the word, if I just put some text in there and drag that, nothing happens. It just copies it as well. So when you drag with the fill handle, and doesn't matter which direction you do it, it will either copy it. So a number it will copy. If it is date related, so January, Monday, or an actual date, it's going to increment it, which may or may not be what you want. And for some reason, if you throw a number on the end of some text, it will increment that number as well. Okay, so let's say you don't want to increment those numbers. Then here's how you do it. Let's say we want a copy of January. So you drag the fill handle down, hold the control key down, and notice you get a little plus sign pop up, and then release the mouse. And that will copy. So that will work with all of these. Instead of incrementing, it's going to copy it. So I'm just pressing the control key just before I release the mouse. Okay. Now it won't make any difference to this one, but it will make a difference to this one. What the control key does is it does the opposite of the default. So with a number, it copies. But if you hold the control key when you drag it, it's going to increment the number. So here we go. Drag that down, hold the control key, release the mouse, and there we go. So you can increment numbers just holding the control key and dragging with the fill handle. By the way, let's delete all those. If you drag it and you change your mind, you can use this little icon down the bottom here. So I've just dragged this down, and let's say I want to copy it instead. If you click the drop down, this little icon, you can copy, you can change what you did. Okay, the same with dates. Just click the little icon and you can copy it. So if you've done it, then you can fix it by using this little icon. There's a few other things that are in there as well, but just be aware of that. So that's on page, that little icon is on page 12. That shows you that. Here's one that people find out by accident. If you drag the fill handle up and stop at the cell, you delete. And now in this case, you can, I think if I hold this up, oh, that's going the other way. So now, so it's on the range. So if you select the range and then get the fill handle and go up like that, you actually delete what's in there. It doesn't clear the format. The format's still there, but you do delete the entry. So you can delete or clear by using the fill handle. So most people find that one out by accident. That's on page 12 as well. Okay, so here is a really cool one. So let's go back to our, so let's work out the margin percentage. Okay, so I'm going to divide the margin by the sale value. So there's the margin percentage. If I want to copy, let's make it a percentage. If I want to copy this down, because there's how many rows? A couple of hundred rows. If I want to copy that down, all you need to do is double click the fill handle. You ready? Double click. And that will copy all the way down as long as there's something on the left-hand side. It will even look on the right-hand side if you've got entries there as well. So double click will copy down a table. So that's really, really useful. Now, as I mentioned, blank cells, they are the devil in Excel, and they will stop this from working all the way down. Someone wants to navigate between two sheet tabs. Okay, so going between sheet tabs, you can go left and right using a keyboard shortcut. So Control and page up takes you to the left. Control and page down takes you to the right. Obviously, you can just click on them with the mouse. That's the keyboard shortcut to navigate. If you've got two files open, you can use Control Tab to go between files. That's something else. We're going to change the range of the dates in the date column, for example. Oh, okay, so I think someone, I don't know if someone's using the, oh, by the way, this is, I'm in Australia, so when we're doing, undo all of those. So this is the 1st of January, but so this is, okay, so that's the 1st of October. So this is the Australian date. If you want to increment by months, so what you can do is drag up. Will I show you? Okay, let's do it. Let's drag that down. If you click here, you can fill months instead. So this is, instead of filling days, that's filling months. I think that's what the question was there. Okay. Copying down a table, Control and the fill handle. I've just shown you that one. And we did the copy before with the Control. Okay, here's something, and this actually will work with what I've just done. This is something you may never have tried before in Excel. We've just been dragging the fill handle with the left mouse button, so the normal mouse button. Did you know you can drag with the right mouse button. So drag the fill handle with the right mouse button. Can take a little bit of practice. Here we go. And let's have a look what happens. When you stop, it says, do you want to copy, fill formatting only? I use that a lot. And also fill without the formatting. So let's see what fill with the formatting only does. That just gives me the format. Let's try this one. So I'm dragging with the right mouse button. I'm going to fill without the formatting. Okay, so that doesn't have a format there. I can fill a series. I can copy. Now, have a look at with the dates. You can fill days. You can fill weekdays. Now, that also applies when you've got a weekday. So you can fill weekdays. And if you're creating a roster or something and you don't have Saturday or Sunday, that can be really useful. So, and that works with the dates. As you can see, the dates here have skipped over the weekend. So fill weekdays. And as we saw earlier, if you right click, drag with the fill handle, you have the option to fill months. So that gives you the months, first of the month there as well. So that's dragging with the, dragging the fill handle. The other thing you can drag is that arrow shape. So if you drag that to somewhere else, you this is on the top of page 13, you can move it, which is cut and paste. You can copy it. You can copy the values. That's also very useful if you want to capture values. And there's also formats as well. And you can also link it. So you can create a link, so a formula link to that cell. So that's got a formula in there that's linked, in this case, to C2. So again, drag with that arrow shape. When you release the mouse, so this is with the right mouse button, you can do a few good things there. You can even create a hyperlink, which when you click on that, that'll take you to the cell. It's not a link as such, it's a hyperlink, which is it's like a navigation thing. Whereas this one here is a formula link to that cell. And you can do a range. So if you want to, let's say, let's copy that down. Well, let's increment it so we can see it's different. So you can copy that, go to some other sheet, right click, and then you can use paste link. So that's sort of another way. So that's a right click. So that's slightly different to what I was showing you before, but on another sheet, you can actually link to those cells by copying it and then pasting as a link, paste link. Okay, so with the right mouse button, you can do it on the same sheet. We can link here. To do it on another sheet, you just copy it and then right click, paste link. Okay, it's time to look at the quick access toolbar. Now, this little line along here is the quick access toolbar. You may have yours above the ribbon. So I'll show it to you. Yours may look like this, and you might, if you're not using it, you'll just have a few icons on the left-hand side here. Now, I don't like it up here, so I right-click it and show it below the ribbon. I like it down here. Now, anything on the ribbon, you can add to the quick access toolbar. So from anywhere. So let's say we've got, I've already got grid lines, have I? Yep. Let's say we've got headings. I'm just, excuse me, I'm just going to have a cough. I think my voice is starting to wear out. Okay, so if I wanted to add the headings, right click it and add to quick access toolbar. That puts it on the end, so I can turn my headings off, which is the ABC 1, 2, 3. So I'll put them back on again because I don't want to lose them. But yeah, anything on this ribbon you can put on the quick access toolbar, And once you do that, you can hide, auto hide the ribbon. Oh, not the ribbon. Cancel. Where's that gone? I'll use the keyboard shortcut, Control F1. There we go. That hides the ribbon tabs. You can still see them, but the quick access toolbar still stays there. Now you can do it another way. You can right click on the quick access toolbar and customize. So customize the quick access toolbar. That opens up a nice big dialog here. There's popular commands. You can add macros to it. So I've got a few macros on this one. And all commands. This is every single thing Excel can do on a button is listed in alphabetical order here, and you can add that to your own one. Now, have a look at the separator here. That's this horizontal line. What you can do is sort of put it's a vertical line on the quick access toolbar, but it just breaks up some of the sections. So you can see I've got my open, file, and print stuff all together. I've got my borders and all of that stuff all together, and I've got a little line between them. You can move these around, by the way, too. So for this headings, for example, I can move that up. So now it's going to move. So if I click OK, the headings has now moved to here. It's hard to show you, but there is a little vertical line between these sections here. So you can set up like sections on your quick access toolbar. If you're not sure what an icon does, just point to it. It'll tell you what it does if you forget. So let's refresh all as well. So I use the quick access toolbar all the time. You can also do it in Word and PowerPoint. You can add all of these shortcuts there. So oftentimes when I'm working, I'll actually work like this, and I won't have the ribbon visible, and that gives me more screen real estate for my spreadsheet. You can still get to these ribbons, by the way. They're still there, but all of the icons that I need are on my quick access toolbar here. And as I mentioned, you can even add macros to it. So you can get some savings with macros. Okay. Let's have a look at the Office clipboard. So I'll show that again because I'll need to see that. Okay. On the home ribbon, you have the clipboard. So I'm going to click this little icon here. And that opens up the clipboard as a task pane on the left-hand side. Now, amazingly, not many people know about this. Have a look what you can do. So I'm going to select that range and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to select another range and I'm going to copy it. Have a look on the left-hand side here. Notice that there's two things there now. And let's grab some dates and copy that. So I've just copied 3 separate things. I can now go somewhere else, and let's say I want to paste the Wednesdays. There we go. Oops. Which one did I click there? I don't know if I double clicked. Let's try that again. Okay, paste. That's interesting. That's actually not pasting what it should be pasting. Wow. That's messing with my head. If I go paste all, well, there you go. I think something's a bit broken there. I'm going to try that again. So select that, copy it. Maybe just go right click copy. Maybe try that. Copy. Copy. Okay, let's try that again. Well, there you go. That's actually pretty much broken. I haven't tried that before. I've tried it before, but I didn't try it today. So that is supposed to allow you to paste the separate things. That one worked. Let's try this one. But that's only pasting the last thing. Wow, okay. that's something that's, is the options, show icon when copying. Okay, so yeah, so that's really weird. So that's actually, this is pasting here when it should be pasting whatever you select. Wow. Okay, so there you go. That's a feature that should work, but at the moment, that looks like it's broken. So I don't know if I've got a setting that I've changed that's affecting that. So check that out. If it works for you, great. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so someone's saying that theirs is working. I may have changed some setting that's broken that, so I'm going to have to investigate. But give yours a go. Yours might work. I'm not sure why. I don't know if my larger mouse icon has affected that. I wouldn't think it would. But yeah, so other people's are working, so that's good. And I'll have to try and figure out why mine isn't working. Okay, we're going to finish off on page 17 with, let's go and open up here. I can close that down. Here we go. I'm going to put a number in, 1, and let's say I want 1,000 sequential numbers. So this is something that one of the Excel MVPs shared, Win Hopkins, who I used to work with. What you can do, get the fill handle. Now I'm dragging with the right mouse button. I'm going to drag down and up. So I didn't do anything, but what it opens up is this series option. And what this does is allows you to do some pretty cool stuff. So you can say you want a column of numbers and you want to go from 1 to, let's say, let's go big, let's go 10,000. So 1 to 10,000 and click OK. And it's got a step value of 1. And there we go. So there's the 10,000. And that's all in one go. So I'll do it again. I'll do it with a date. So let's say we got the 1st of the 1st this year. Again, right mouse button down and then up. Series. And I want a column, and I'm going to go to the 31st of the 12th, 2032. So quite a number of years ahead. Let's go. Click OK. And so that goes from there to there, 31st. So that can give you a lot of control over the range that you create, and really quickly. So if you do need a sequential list of dates, that can be a quick way to do it. So that's, if you do want to go across, by the way, so again, right mouse button down and up. Whoop, get my fill handle. Now I can't get my fill handle. Whoa, okay. I think Excel's getting tired. No, that's not working. Let's try another sheet. There we go. I think the larger mouse icon might be messing with things. Okay, series. If you want to go across, you use rows, and I'll just do 100, say, and click OK. So that's going to go sideways. Okay, so lots of shortcuts, and I've got to go and try and figure out why my clipboard wasn't working too well. Hopefully some of those have given you some ideas on how you can speed up some of your work in Excel and use your mouse and maybe the keyboard together. I don't think I've got any questions that I haven't covered. I think I've covered them all. So when you are on the way out, there is a feedback form. If you can fill that in, that'd be great. And also, if you've got any feedback on me using this larger mouse, if you've been to my previous webinars, if you prefer the larger mouse, let me know. I've got to try and figure out if it is causing my, let's go and try that again. I'm just really frustrated with that clipboard. One more time. Copy. Copy. Okay, I want to paste that one. No, it's only pasting that. So yeah, I don't know. So that's really, really weird. So, oh well. Excel can be like that. So I might wrap it up there. Thanks for attending. I will be running some more free webinars in November and December. So keep an eye out for that. Have a great day, and hopefully see you on another webinar soon. Thanks very much.